right, so the next topic I want to ask you about, because it's coming up this Friday, Mike Tyson, Jake Paul.
Oh, geez, Mike Tyson.
Why?
Why?
I know, I come from the same thing, right? But
His neck?
age, his neck, he's 58.
Yeah, I know. But still, I want to believe. You see the training footage or whatever, he's just moving like a gazelle, but with the ferocity of a freaking tiger.
What's amazing to me is what was it, like just a decade ago? He was like 360 pounds.
Oh yeah, playing with
coked
birds
out of his
stuff.
mind, playing just all fucked up.
Pigeons.
Yeah, so I'm watching because Netflix has a lead-in series.
Yeah,
they're like 3 episodes, and so I think the last one was yesterday. So I'm watching this, and I'm thinking this motherfucker's like 2 years older than I am.
Yeah.
Doing Arsenal or bike sprints.
Yeah.
You know, sweating like a motherfucker, training 8 hours a day. I felt like a puss. In a big way. You know, like,
in a good way.
In a good way. I'm like, I got to do a little bit more than walk fucking 5,000 steps a day.
Yeah.
You know, this fucking guy is getting after it. But I don't know. I'm interested to see because you got to think of the draw this thing's going to have, because you have him at 58, so he's pulling all the people that saw him in his prime.
For sure.
I remember watching these
huge.
fights in college, you know, live. And so he's got all them, and then you got Jake, which is bringing in a whole younger generation. This is going to be fucking huge.
Yeah. I just hope it's not rigged.
Yeah, I don't know.
A lot of these fights, that's just...
That's to be seen.
Yeah.
But let's assume it's not rigged.
Yeah.
And it's just full out battle.
What if it's not rigged, and then what if Tyson just murders him?
You think he's got the power to
I don't
do
know.
that?
I mean, I think when you have it, do you ever truly lose it? Maybe your timing is not quite as sharp as it was when you're young. But, like, I can speak from experience right now. Like, when I wrestled in college, I stuck around for a couple years and I coached. And then I, like, just in my strength conditioning stuff, when I had moved to Milwaukee, so there was no, like, Division I program there. But when I went to, like, this, like, Division III program just to kind of, like, mess around for a day or whatever. This was years after I graduated, probably 4 or 5 years after I graduated. I felt like I didn't lose anything. I felt better because I was just more time to just keep getting stronger. Old man, grip strength just keeps getting, as long as you're hoisting heavy ass steel year after year after year, I feel like this is just always going to keep getting better. Anytime I've ever, you know, just shook the hand of, someone that even once was a lifting enthusiast or whatever, it feels like their hands never lose it.
Yeah, it's like meat.
Yeah, exactly. Like everything else might like atrophy to an extent with age, but the forearm and the hand is like that doesn't go anywhere. So I just feel like especially when you're that level, like you might take a couple steps back, but he's on top of the world. You know, like I don't think you lose that much.
What do you think he loses if he? What do you think happens if he does lose?
I think it's rigged then. Not to sound like a hater, but I do think it's rigged. I don't really watch all the Jake Paul fights and stuff like that. But how's he beaten is he that good? And if he is that good, why doesn't he actually? But then people will say, well, he makes a lot of money on his own, doing his own fights or whatever. But why? Wouldn't you just want to prove to people like, hey, I'm just going to go win a world championship then or whatever in like a real federation?
I think that he may have him on reach. You know, but I don't think that matters with Tyson because every destruction he ever does is in close. Yeah. And, you know, when we think back on that, we're thinking of these brutal fucking knockouts of where he came out. But if you look towards his last fights where he kind of sucked because he didn't train or do anything.
Well, of course,
he wasn't lifting heavy
I think the thing with like combat sports is like, as long as you have the conditioning, I think that's the most important thing because you could be, you know, freaking Herculean strong and a technical wizard. But if you're gassed, you're gassed. Yeah. And then the strength goes out the window, and the technique goes out the window because your timing's all off because you're gassed. And I saw that. I mean, wrestling's such a great sport because it's like it's the most gentleman-like of the combat sports or whatever. So like, just my time in it helps me really appreciate all these things. But like, I've been on both ends of the spectrum. Where I've wrestled guys, because I bumped up to heavyweight, but I also cut, 40 pounds from 184 or whatever, down to 184, which is funny because I'm like 280 pounds now, but I wrestle at 180. But so I've wrestled, I've beaten I'd be a national champion, I'd be an All-Americans, but then I've also lost to, you know, nobodies. And especially when I was cutting a lot of weight. Because when you're cutting a lot of weight, you're like dehydrated and like you might feel okay, but after 30 seconds, you just have nothing. And when you have nothing, you can't, it doesn't matter. You could be.
Does it inhibit your instincts too? Yeah,
because you're just trying not to die at that point. You have lead in your feet. You know, your legs feel like they're 1,000 pounds each. So you're not gonna, unless you're that much better than someone.
Yeah.
But so I think the most important thing, like you're saying, is doing the wind sprints on the freaking whatever
assault bike.
Yeah. If he's doing that, he'll be good.
Yeah. He's doing 5 rounds or whatever.
That's like the ultimate conditioning tool.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah.
It's fucking terrible. Now, with your own training, I've taken some time, right?
Oh, good,
so
yeah.
if we're going to call this, what do you call this? The horsecock method?
Yeah, I think it's horsecocking.
So if we call it horsecocking method, right? And go ahead and pull up his Instagram real quick. I think I've kind of broke the code on your training to where this here.
You broke the code. Yeah, I want to hear it.
All right, so listen. Okay, so that right there is the gua. Right?
Yeah.
Right. So that's the gua exercise, right? So in conjugate, that would be your explosive movement.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
There's several exercises that you have which are gua.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Now go to the next one. Now this, that's the max effort movement, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So you have those timed throughout. So now we have the ga, and then the right? Now go to the next one. Now for your heavy supplemental work.
Awesome.
This is raw.
Yeah.
Raw.
Yeah.
Raw, right?
Yeah.
So these are like the 3 to 5s. It's raw.
Yeah.
Right? It's not ga and it's not
Yeah.
It's different, right? Now go to the next one. Now this here.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Right? That's the accessory work, right? And then the very last one is. Now you got to go back. So this is like right?
Yeah.
So when we break this down, you have an explosive day, which starts with the ga work, and then after that movement, you have the raw work, and then the puff, puff, puff work.
Yeah.
Then on the other day, you have the warm up, then you have the work, then the raw work again, then the puff, puff,
That's
puff
a great
work.
way to look at it.
Right?
But it's all vocal.
Yeah, well, it is vocal, right? So it's the core. It's part of the horse cocking method.
For sure, yeah.
Is it's based upon sounds.
Yeah.
And the effort of those sounds, right?
Yeah.
And so when you break it down like that, now what I wasn't able to figure out is the movements that fall in each one of these. I gotta go to my notes here at the bottom, to where it seemed like the dynamic things were like swings. Trying to think of some of the other dynamic things. Sometimes like a belt squat would be in there.
Yeah.
So those fall in that dynamic type of thing. The max effort stuff's always some kind of deadlift, some Zercher deadlift, or some kind of clean and press, right? That's pretty fucking simple on how those rotate.
Yeah.
You know, the accessories, the supplemental things are basically anything you can do heavy. You know, for those 3 to 5s, there's dips in there and there's other stuff in there. And then the poof poof movements are like just fluff and buff movements that kind of fall in all that. So the question would be, now that we kind of know the blueprint.
Yeah.
Like
you're figuring it out for me. I think you asked me about this in the last one.
Yeah, the template has been exposed. So then how do the movements rotate?
Well, I guess that's probably instinctual then, huh? Because I only do kind of what I'm enthusiastic about that day. But I guess when you've been training long enough, you know when you don't have the ra versus the gua.
So they all. So do they all start off as like the puff movements, and then as you work up, you determine if it's going to end up being the or the ga?
Yeah, unless I'm sometimes I'll go and I'll just have the eye of the tiger. I'll know exactly what I want.
Yeah, and that's going to always end up being the
Yeah, pretty much.
Right?
The id, I mean, dude, the id summarized it perfectly.
Yeah.
Instant gratification of raw, pure intensity or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah.
But when we take it to that vocal level,
yeah,
we're able to actually figure this all out.
That's pretty funny. I never thought about the vocal
side
of it, but I will say that.
So it's like daily undulating periodization based upon effort of sound.
Yeah, that's pretty, dude, it's crazy that you broke it down to that degree, because I will say there are times when I'm not getting the sounds out and like, damn, just like this the other day, I was just, so I had Juji Mufu over at my just humid as hell garage for a few days, and we were, you know, he was there, so we had to make the most out of it. We're in the garage for like 5 hours a day, just, you know, doing all the raw. So once the day he was gone, the next day he was gone, my hands just felt raw. Just, you know what I'm saying? Like that, it was just hard to close them, just spent. So I go to the gym, but of course I always got to do something. You know what I mean? And depending on how the warm-ups go, I'll change it from there. But like I was just doing the clean and the press just to mess around with that. Like I like doing that. I like doing it with no technique either. You know
I saw that.
I feel like once you start getting technical with it, it loses the fun, first of all, but then it also loses just the raw horsecockery. Do you know what I'm saying? And I don't say this in an offensive way at all, because I know people like, look, Klokov and all these guys that are just freaks and cleaning and pressing, you know, 500 pounds or whatever. But I'm talking about for the common Joe. I've been in a lot of gyms for years and years where people are working out like Olympic weightlifting and stuff, and they'll never, it's just like a 25 or something on each side. It's just all like, you know, like, you know, taking a big break, because you obviously, once you start to get fatigued, then your technique can't be perfect. So I want to do the opposite of that. And I feel like I love looking at the way high school kids train. Now, don't get this wrong. I'm not talking about the people that are like at the commercial gym, just bench pressing every day and talking about. I'm talking about the high school athletes, because they have the raw passion to get better, because it's like for football, for instance, and they have the coach screaming at them or whatever, you know what I mean? Because they have to get better. They have to get stronger. I say high school, but also it could be the same thing for college too. When you go to a normal gym, for the most part, these people are there just because they want to, you know, look better, maybe get a little stronger. But like a college or a high school weight room, it's like they have to get bigger and stronger. So if their coach tells them, like my high school coach, who was also the football coach, I'm talking about my high school coach for wrestling, who was also the football coach, he was saying to gain weight when he was a kid, he would put like Chips Ahoy or something in a blender and just with milk, and he would just blend up like Chips Ahoy and milk or something. Yeah, it's not stupid, but you're like, well, that's what he did to get better. I have to do this. You know what I'm saying? You have to do it. Like it seems the shit's stupid. Like, hey, eat 5 peanut butter and jellies and all this whatever, but you have to do it, because you can't let your team down. Yeah. So like, what they're doing in the weight room, it's not like technical. It's not like the form obviously sucks for the most part, but it's like training with like desire,
intensity and desire.
Exactly.
Yes. So the video I saw of you doing the cleans with the tsunami bar with TV, right? So there's 3 misses before success, right? So why repeat after missing it 3 times? And how many times would you have kept going until you got it?
I would have kept it, because it didn't feel dangerous. So like if something feels sketchy, like for instance you're benching or something and something's not feeling quite right, I think you'd be a fool to keep trying. But for that, you know, like with the tsunami bar too. Do you have a tsunami bar?
A bunch of them.
They're great. But they don't like rotate at all. So it's like for cleaning the tsunami bar, you just really have to pull that sucker up high, because you gotta like reverse curl it to get under it. You can't like spin the bar to get under it. Yeah. So every time, like the 3 misses, it was like here. I just couldn't get on. And that's where it's just like, okay, we just need more vocalization. You know what I mean? It's a couple things, couple more percent power. How do you get that? It's in there. So you just got to get it out.
You're doing it as a ga thing when it needed to be an ah thing.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. It's just, I know there's got to be, I bet there's like real experts on this with like the power of like your diaphragm and making noise. You know what I mean? And it's kind of funny. Like I'm like everyone else. When somebody's at the gym, they're like, ah! Or something, and you're like, what the fuck, man? Like, you're like, everyone kind of looks up, like, what the fuck? But then at the same time, I have to take a step back and respect it. Now, I don't know if they're coming with the 110%, like, or if they're just trying to make noise for people to see them. But like I was saying, I've had so many times where I'm like going for something, and it's like, it's almost there. So it's like, okay. I'm sorry, everyone, but I gotta just fucking let it out.
Yeah, you gotta be louder.
Yeah. And that's why I tell my wife all the time. I'm like, everyone here probably thinks I'm such a douche, but I can't. It's not trying to make noise. But like before I do a lift or something too, like you gotta get in the flow. I gotta get the music right. I'm very sensory, like sensitive. Like the music's gotta fucking click in. Something's gotta build up to it. But as it is, if I don't go like. You know what I'm saying? Like, get that going too. It's just.
I'm more concerned with what your neighbors think.
Yeah.
Because this is happening in your garage by yourself all the time.
Yeah. They don't ever tell me what they really think.
Yeah.
They try to ignore it's happening. Like I've had I'm serious. My wife's told me before. This is like during like when I was maxing out a deadlift, and I probably failing a bunch of times to keep trying. But like she's like. She was having a conversation with the neighbor, like this sweet old lady. And like, oh yeah, it's great. And she was telling me all about this. And in the back's just like me, like, like singing, like manic, like just screaming at myself. And the singing, so it's beautiful. It's ugly and it's beautiful at the same time. It's and they're both pretending it's not happening.
Right. You know? So that brings me to your reaction videos in front of the TV.
Yeah.
Right? Some of these will start with, my wife's going to be home in, say, 20 minutes. And
always,
the video goes for 40 minutes, right? And so I'm just wondering.
Sweating, trying to beat the clock.
What she thinks when she walks in and you're screaming at the TV.
Oh, she's totally used to it by now. She gets it. Yeah. Yeah. I'm a nice guy, but I'm a maniac. You know what I'm saying? I'm kind of insane with certain things, but she knows I'm sweet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm just very intense. And she'll tell me, she's like, wait, too intense. Because sometimes when we're talking, you know what I'm saying? It comes up the same way as like on the reaction videos and stuff too. Usually it's involved with tons of coffee and pre-workout though. But that's like, that's systematic. You know what I mean? Like, so on the drive here, this is funny. I'm glad now that I have another cup of coffee and I have some pre-workout too. Just because, like, if we're gonna talk, man, I want to be at my A game.
Yeah.
I don't want to be lethargic. So I was driving here. Where do we even start? I flew into Cincinnati because I wanted to work out at a gym. So I got in early yesterday because I just love lifting, man. I just love lifting. This will tell you how much I love lifting. I was at a gym. I went to a gym called Power Station. It's funny. I saw it on Elite FTS. It's like top gyms in Ohio. I was like, fine, Power Station. I've never been there. Plus, Power Station is like an 80s, like, get it on, bang, gong, get it on. You know what I'm saying? So I wonder if they're related. You know what I'm saying? That's
yeah.
That's Power Station.
Yeah.
So like old school vibes, old school music. I got to go to this gym. And it was great. And they had so much. They had like Elite FTS stuff.
Yeah.
You've been there?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course you have. I'm sure you like
all kinds of shit in there.
Yeah. So I was there for like almost 4 hours. And I always hit a point. Like when I'm at a new gym and I'm there for so long, it's like, what am I even doing? You know what I'm saying? Because they had like the bar, they had this bar, the bar that
spring bar.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
What do you think of that, by the way?
Dude,
I felt like it was gonna fuck me up.
It's good for a pump afterwards.
Okay.
That's about where I'll leave it.
Because I would unrack, like, oh my God! And I would have like a twinge in my shoulder. I'm like, okay, I think I'm starting to figure this out. So I did that, and I did the cambered bar, and then I did like the dumbbells, and I did like this neutral grip pressing bar, and then I did like farmer's walks, and I messed around with all the machines, and I was just spent. So then afterwards, like, I gotta get food. I gotta go to a grocery store. And at the grocery store, it's a fucking grocery store, man. Like, what's it?
Kroger.
Kroger, yeah. they have like fitness section. I'm like, well, I gotta check out the fitness section. I think all this bullshit, like, you know, ladies grippers and stuff. And I always look at these things. I'm always like, could I use this? And I've bought it before. Like, I've gone to like Marshall's before, just for like right next to my daughter's gymnastics. I'm like, I don't know, I'll just go to Marshall's and kill some time. And I'll see like a ladies gripper. And I'm like, dude, I could probably use that. Everything's a tool. I can use this. What would you need a ladies gripper for? Well, I'm thinking, if I'm driving my car, what a perfect moment to hit like 1,000 reps of gripper. You know what I'm saying? There's always something to be done. And I think it's funny because people are always looking for the perfect program. This is something that drives me wild. Like, perfect program. Most effective exercises. Who gives a shit, man? You know what I mean? Like, is the ladies gripper for 1,000 reps the perfect program? No. You just do stuff like, just do it all.
Yeah.
And then find what you like doing. And then see if it works for you. Like 1,000 reps with a ladies gripper, is that going to do anything? Probably not, but I don't know until I try it.
Yeah.
You
you got to go in thinking it's going to do something.
Of course.
Like, so with 1,000 reps, what do you think that would do?
Density.
Density?
Yeah.
Density of what?
Freaking forearm tendons.
Yes.
You know?
Density of
and you can say, well, it's not
tendons.
going to build any strength. It's 1,000 reps. Yeah, but then when I go to the gym and I'm doing all the shit with the dumbbells and the barbells and stuff, like, you think these hands are ever going to fatigue? They're used to 1,000 reps on a ladies gripper.
Unless they're fatigued when you go in.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
You can't do shit about it, right?
Yeah.
When did you start using the tsunami bar? Because that seems to be being used.
Oh, man. So I got a bamboo bar. Well, first, man, I don't even know where to begin. That's a great question, but we didn't finish the power station story.
Yeah, power station story. Yeah.
So power station just freaking wiped out. So I at Kroger looking at ladies grippers. I'm like, well, frick, man, I got this podcast tomorrow.
Did you get food? Or did you get sidetracked entirely by this fitness section?
I was at this grocery store for hours. But yeah, I got some bagels and some chips.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
So bagels, chips, grocery store.
What are we even talking about?
Yeah,
oh yeah. So I also got instant coffee because you know, they're all tools, like weapons that are gonna have an objective. I'm not going to have some hotel coffee. I'm not going to go to Starbucks and get a coffee. I'm going to make my own 15 scoops of instant. You know what I'm saying? Like tailor-made to me. But I didn't want to get – there was the instant, but then there's also this instant coffee with mushrooms in it, turkey tail and lion's mane.
Turkey tail.
Okay. I'm like, okay, maybe that's going to open up my mind for this podcast. It's really going to get this conversation flowing. So I dumped like 15 servings in my shaker bottle. Man, I was just so tired driving here. That shit sucked. The turkey tail will do nothing for you.
Well, I'm wondering if it's more of a relaxant.
Maybe. I don't know. I'll tell you, I've had like 15 scoops of instant, and you feel like you're on top of the world. But this, like, I don't know. It was like 6 mushrooms in there. They don't do jack.
So it neutralized the caffeine.
I think so. I think it's for like maybe feel good. But I don't want to feel good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I want to be fired the hell up. So then I got here. And I got some pre-workout, and then I got another cup of coffee.
And so now it's pulling back up.
Now I think now I'm starting to feel just right.
Starting to get.
Yeah. Now the turkey tail took me down here, but now we're getting back up.
And turkey tail.
So then the tsunami bar. See how sharp my mind is now with the turkey tail and all that working. So the tsunami bar. So that probably they reached out to me if I was interested in a bar. I'm like, hell yeah. But why did they reach out to me? Well, they probably reached out to me because, I've probably seen this from you back in the day. T-Nation, everything I learned was from T-Nation back in 2010. But I would do a lot of stuff with the barbell, and I would just hang weights on the bands. You know, like how they do with the bamboo bar, but they're doing all the kettlebells for some reason. Kettlebells. Let's hang some 45s or something.
Yeah.
And I would do that from time to time. And when I would train people too, I would have them do it. I'd be like, whoa! You know?